does this happen? Like, how does this happen? How does this happen? See, that's just straight wrong. No, it is definitely not Shaw from the Walton Files. No. Yeah, you know what you're getting into. You saw the thumbnail. I've done this once before. Is this a trend? No. I feel passionate about analog horror stuff, and I hate when they get the details wrong. It needs to be pointed out. It needs to be talked about. I don't hate Film Theory. I just think some of their videos could require a bit more elbow grease when researching. And honestly, hit them up. I will gladly look over your scripts. I will gladly, especially for Walten Files. That's kind of my thing. Like, I love that series. Like, hey, hit me up. I'll look over your scripts. Just saying. Like, or I'll provide you with theories. Heck, I'll provide you with theories. I have plenty.
Scariest analog horror series we've ever covered has even more videos and even more mysteries.
That's not the Walten Files.
Finally digging into its newest release, and this story is so much darker than I ever expected. Hello internet, welcome to Film Theory. Finally jumping back into the Walten Files, created by animator Martin Walls. Not a bad substitute for FNAF, right? If you don't remember, and I don't blame you, it's been Files centers on a burger restaurant called Bon's Burgers, founded by Jack Walton and Felix Kranken, with 5 animatronic characters: Bon Bunny, Boozoo, the Ringmaster, Shaw the Sheep, Billy the Clown, and...
Wait. Wait. Guys, we're not serious. Guys, we're not. We're in minute 18. Okay, look. It's okay. It's just like this isn't even the right character, guys. Okay. No, it is definitely not Shaw from the Walten Files. No, definitely not. This is Witch Sheep from Pumpkin Rabbit, or Mysterious House, Return of the Pumpkin Rabbit. Okay.
The Sheep, Billy the Clown, and Banny, and deaths that eventually lead to it closing, being reopened years later, and, of course, more deaths. We're seeing all of this through the eyes of...
We don't know it's reopened later. It's just planned to be reopened. Okay.
All of this through the eyes of our main character, Sophie Walton, last surviving member of the Walton family. You know, if you're attacked by haunted animatronics, you're probably going to need to see a specialist for that.
Hey, ZogDog, just so you know, I make analog horror videos too. Like, hit me up.
But their bodies are never recovered.
Okay, so we're doing a review of episode 4. Okay, that's chill. Like, I get that. But you're only posting it now because Hotline came out. Maybe you posted it because my video is doing well. Just say thank you, guys. Hey, I know you see that doing well. But yeah, you're posting it now because Hotline just came out. So why are you doing a review of episode 4? Maybe he'll do Hotline later in the episode.
There's still Billy down there. He haunts me every night.
And that Rosemary Walton, mother of Ed and Molly, whose soul is now trapped inside of Shaw the Sheep, originally designed the...
See, that's Shaw. You get what I mean? See, like, you made this whole visual of Shaw that you could have showed earlier, but instead we show... Okay, anyways, I respect the visual. This visual is so cool. Like, I wish I could do this. I can. Actually, maybe I should.
We've heard of before, Susan and Charles. Charles is a character that has also been missing since around the time the restaurant shut down. This video...
Charles disappeared 1 week before the restaurant shut down, not around the time after it closed. Because you said... Wait, what'd you say?
Character that has also been missing since around the time the restaurant shut.
I guess you're safe. Just be careful there, because the restaurant was still open when Charles disappeared, and then it shuts down a week later because of Rosemary.
That it's a letter addressed to Felix, concerned about the disappearance of Susan and questioning if Felix had any involvement in it.
Yeah, but if you read it, it says, "I have a ton of questions and suspicions about whatever is going on with your company." Like, not you, Felix, with bunny smiles. Okay, I get, you're trying to push the narrative or whatever right now against Felix. Because I guess, yeah, you could spin it and say bunny smiles looking suspicious makes Felix look suspicious. But that's not what it's saying. It's talking about bunny smiles as a company.
Grass with a white sky.
Yep.
If I were to guess, this is...
Okay, side note, look at this church. See this church? Martin posted a teaser with this church. It's in Wonderland, but also guess what else is in Wonderland? Bond's Burgers and is in Wonderland, and then the church is also in Wonderland. Like, I'm guessing it's the church that the funeral happens in for Ed and Molly. Interesting, eh? Why is the church here? Okay, 12 minutes in. We just did the review, I guess. Okay, 8 minutes of theory. So this is the actual theory portion. Before this was just 12 minutes of review. I just like more of the theory side because I'm assuming that people have already watched the series and supported the original creator. Interesting.
What or who the heck is this Bond spirit? Now, I wish I could come down here and just say that there is a definitive answer, but sadly, I can't. Frankly, we just don't have enough information to properly give an explanation.
That's fine.
At first, I wondered if he might be some incarnation of Jack Walton. What exactly happened to Jack is still a pretty big loose end, one that we've been trying to figure out for years, and at first I thought that this episode might tell us a little bit more. See, in a section of the tape describing how the animatronics were designed, Jack's name is missing.
Rosemary Walton, the loving wife of, is a brilliant artist.
Did you catch that? Despite being in the closed captions, Jack's name is completely left out of the audio.
Yeah, okay, I get you. I see you. Like, I see you. You know what I mean? Like, I see you. But also, like, episode 2 does this every single time. I don't know if, like, you're using this as a point to draw a connection that Bond is erasing Jack Walton's name. But if Bond is Jack Walton, why does he care if his name is in there? But also, this just happens all the time anyways in episode 2 as a creative decision, like to make it creepier or whatever.
Just trying to erase him from anything else in the story.
Yeah, I don't know.
These tapes aren't actually the first time we've seen Bond. No, that came from a website called Find Jack Walton.
Ooh,
back in 2021.
very good.
Yeah, there's an ARG website because this is a classic analog horror series. Of course, there's an ARG website. Well, it looks much different now. This website started as a sort of missing persons profile for Jack, and huge shout-outs to the fans maintaining the Walten Files wiki for preserving these older versions of the site. Anyway, the original version of the website was just a picture of Jack and a description of where he was last seen. A new image was found, a monochrome man wearing a black tie with the text, "The future starts now." Met before, have we? Pleasure to meet you. My name is, and then finally, a white man with a black tie, and he says, Bond. Exactly like he was introduced in the Walten Files 4.
Pleasure to meet you. My name is Bond.
That's a pretty big point in the Bond is Jack theory column. I mean, this was a website dedicated to Jack, but that just doesn't sit quite right with me for a few reasons. Honestly, mostly the same reasons that's been bothering us since the last time we covered the series. See, there's another character in the series called the Shadow Man who appears to be responsible for the death of Rosemary and stuffing her into Shaw the sheep.
That's not Shaw. Oh my god. And also, okay, why did he use this image? Why don't you use the actual image of Shadow Man? Like, he has an image. It's from episode 2. It's his most prominent feature. Use the image that use his actual image.
The Shadow Man, who appears to be responsible for the death of...
No. Bond is responsible. It's very clear. You see the whole scene yourself. But yeah, Shadow Man lures Rosemary Walton using like Sophie's voice or whatever. But yeah, Shadow Man doesn't kill Rosemary. That's not what happened.
See, there's another character in the series called the Shadow Man who appears to be responsible for the death of Rosemary and...
No, he's not responsible.
Stuffing her into Shaw the sheep.
It's just not Shaw.
That's a very similar MO to how Bond killed Susan. I think that these two characters are actually the same character.
No, you did not. Okay.
Their MO to how Bond killed Susan, so I think that these two characters are actually the same character.
Okay. So, Shadow Man is Bond. They're first of all, we have this screenshot from episode 3. Shadow Man is Felix. Pretty much confirms it. I mean, why else would they put that in there? Like, Shadow Man has to be Felix. Like, the car scene's there, the two red kids are there. Also, why would they represent Bond with a white figure with a tie, and then also represent Bond with a black figure with a backwards hat on? It's literally black and white. is literally black and white. Those two characters are not the same. It's that black and white. Okay, you're gonna have to pull some crazy evidence.
How Bon killed Susan, so I think that these two characters are actually the same.
Oh my gosh, no.
This connection between the Shadow Man
no.
and Bon is actually something Martin Walls got asked about directly, and his only
Are they
answer
related?
was, good question. So I think that there's
Are they related? Not if they're the same.
fire for all of that smoke. Anyway, I don't think there's
I think Felix is Shadow Man. I don't think Felix is Bon.
enough to say that, but there's a lot connecting them. Mostly, it's because of the mysterious deaths and murders.
It's because Shadow Man is helping Bon. Let's be so honest. Like, Shadow Man feeds me when lights go off. Like, Shadow Man is keeping Susan alive. Like, he's keeping Susan alive. He's helping Bon out. He closes Bon in after the death. He's keeping Bon a secret. I think Shadow Man and Bon are helping each other. Case closed. That's why they're related.
But there's a lot connecting them. Mostly, it's because of the mysterious deaths and murders. All of the people who died are directly connected to Felix, or seem to question Felix's story about the deaths of...
This is assuming that Felix is Bon. Okay.
People who died are directly connected to Felix,
Assuming that Felix is Bon.
or seem to question Felix's story about the deaths of Molly and Ed. Felix confessed to Jack and Rosemary that Ed and Molly are dead, and worried about his future in the business if this information gets out. And what happens soon afterwards? Jack goes missing, leaving Felix...
Yeah, okay, I guess you could say soon. If you consider 3 weeks later soon.
leaving Felix open to eventually take over and move the business.
But Felix always owned the business. Yeah, see, Felix was always the CEO. That's why in the letter, Norman only addresses Felix as the owner. There's other evidence that suggests that Felix is the owner and Jack is the co-owner. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I can definitely find it if someone's like interested.
Other than Sophie, who absolutely is a target, the only person central to this story and the deaths of Ed and Molly that we get no indication has disappeared or has been killed is Felix. If Bon had some other reason to want to capture or kill or torture everyone involved with Bon's burgers, either as an act of revenge for the deaths of Ed and Molly or something else entirely.
See, Bon's motives are pretty clear. He pretty much tells you straight up. His motives are clear. He wants to make everyone beautiful. And as he said in the video, he had been put through this process before, which means he is not currently alive, which means he is not Felix. Theory debunked right there. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying, like, he straight up tells you, oh, sorry, Susan, I had to do this before. You play the clip.
Wouldn't you like me to fix you? The spirit doesn't pass on quite as fast as the body does. I would know.
Or it's like, I should know, right? And it's like, that's more Jack, right? Oh, Jack goes missing. This is probably something similar happened to Jack or another character we haven't heard of yet.
And if I had to bet about where this story would go next, well, they'll both want to tie up that last loose end for Felix killings of the Walton kids, Sophie Walton. Yeah, as of the ending of the Walten Files 4, Sophie is the last member of the Walton family that's...
Jack's not dead. He's missing.
Theory, Bon is using the game Bunny Farm to try to jog Sophie's memory and lure Sophie to her death.
No. That's not what Bunny Farm was for. Bunny Farm, Bon has no involvement in Bunny Farm. Bunny Farm is all about the spirits possessing the machine. They want to show Sophie Walton her past, Mr. Snow specifically, who we think represent the pills. But MatPat knows this. So did he not talk to like Lee about this? Because MatPat, I watched MatPat watch film, like his reaction video to like the series or whatever, and he knows this. Like, he knows that this whole like arcade machine is for Sophie Walton to recover her past. It is not to lure her to the bunker. It has nothing to do with K9. I don't even think the bunker is even shown in Bunny Farm. It's all about showing Sophie Walton her past. That's all it is. It is not to lure her to K9.
Try to jog Sophie's memory and lure Sophie to her death.
No.
Plus, in the very first Walten Files episode,
No.
we know that the security guard Brian Stells was killed because Bon, quote, he thought I was her.
Okay, that's
Brian
correct.
was wearing a uniform that Sophie also used to wear.
Okay, I hope we know that that's not Brian Stells. I really hope we know that. I think he's just showing the uniform. Although they're obviously different colors because it's different shading. But like, That's David. That's not Brian Stelz. But I'm hoping we know that. You're just showing the uniform. You're just showing the uniform.
He thought I was her. Brian was wearing a uniform that Sophie also used
That's
to
not
wear.
Brian.
That becomes even more interesting when we know why this mix-up happened. If you listen...
Oh my... Okay, so you...
But that becomes even more interesting when we know why this...
And they switched it, why this mix-up happened, and he switches them as if they're getting mixed up. No, that's not Brian Stelz. That's David. That's a different character. Yeah, that's just not Brian Stelz. That's just, like, a totally different character.
Oh, the test we did with Sophie, right?
That facial recognition technology, the one that's so good that it can detect the faces of ghosts like Molly and Ed, it couldn't read Sophie's face. Something about Sophie is different, and that's going to play a key role in where exactly...
I don't think that's what they're saying. I think, because remember, you're leaving out a key point here. It doesn't just recognize anybody's face. It's only certain people's faces. It has like a memory. Like you can only keep so many people's faces in the facial recognition. Like you can't just recognize everyone. Ed and Molly and Sophie were all a part of that. I think they're just talking in general. Like it had trouble identifying faces like Sophie's. Like because they did all the tests with 3 people: Ed and Molly and Sophie.
Where this series goes in the future. Stick with me here. One of the additional videos that Martin Walls created and uploaded to the Walten Files channel is called The Return of the Pumpkin Rabbit.
Okay,
Continuation
you're doing
of
Pumpkin
another
Rabbit?
special video called The Mysterious House.
Yeah,
now,
correct.
To be clear, Martin has gone on record saying that these videos
Okay,
are not
good.
canon to the Walten
Good.
Files universe, but I do believe we can use them to get a sense of where Martin's head is at and potentially see if he's testing ideas for the main canon story. So,
Okay.
what happens in these specials? Well, if you don't remember The Mysterious House...
Wait, so we're just not going to do Hotline? There's like 2 minutes left. I thought this is all because Hotline just came out, but we're not going to do Hotline? Okay.
This was a Halloween special where a group of trick-or-treaters are lured into a house so they can be murdered, and the people responsible share similarities to the showstopper animatronics. Seems oddly similar to the main story that we've laid out so far, doesn't it? And in The Return of the Pumpkin Rabbit, we see 4 kids enter another abandoned house, but this one is said to be the home of a group of serial killers called the Watermen. Of course...
See, the problem lies. It's another house, and this one is the Watermen's. You see, the problem lies that it's the same house, and it's both the Watermen's. They're not different houses. But, like, I'm just confused. Like, but they visually don't look any different. So, like, how did you... Yeah, but how... How does this happen? Like, how does this happen? How does this happen? How does this happen? They're the same house. They're the same house. Same house. Same group of murderers. Wait, what did you think happened in the first one?
Both share similarities to the showstopper animatronics. Seems
Visually.
similar
Visually they do, yes.
to the main story that we've laid out. And in The Return of the Pumpkin Rabbit, we see 4 kids enter another abandoned house, but this one is said to be the home of a group of serial killers called the Watermen. Of course, it turns out that this house is not abandoned, and 2 of the kids meet a gruesome fate at the hands of the killers. But this story does end on a somewhat lighter note, when the main character Jay uses her lighter to set fire to the Watermen's photo book. This has photos of the victims inside and invigorates their bodies to rise up and fight back. They then kill the Watermen and end the nightmare once and for all. Now again, I cannot stress enough that these videos are not canon, but there are still tons of similarities between what we're seeing here and what's in the actual Walten Files. For example, the character Pumpkin Rabbit is not only voiced by the same actor who voices Bon, but he's also a serial killer who claws at the faces of their victims, just like Bon did to Susan. Additionally, Jay also uses her lighter to burn the photo album, which causes the downfall of the serial killers. And one of the only times we see Sophie in the Walten Files has her holding a lighter, just like Jay. Just like the Pumpkin Rabbit is the stand-in for Bon in this special.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But how? Like, the Pumpkin Rabbit is the stand-in for Bon. But they're just like not though. 2 different characters completely. One is an animatronic possessed by a spirit who's been tortured. The other is just like a murderer. Like he's not a piece of metal. One's just a piece of metal that's possessed. The other is just like a murderer that wears a mask. But like how? Like they're both main characters. One story is about like a restaurant opening and children entertainers. The other story is about a murderer murdering kids, and like on Halloween.
Special, Jay is the stand-in for Sophie, and that means that just like Jay helped turn the victims against the serial killers, Sophie's going to help the victims of Bon rise up to defeat him.
So this whole 20-minute theory is basically 19 minutes of review of the videos, so people don't have to watch the original creator, and then 1 minute of you saying Sophie Walton is going to defeat Bon and Ed and Molly's going to help them. Because in the Pumpkin Rabbit, one character has a lighter, and in one clip of Sophie, she's holding a lighter. Therefore, she's going to defeat Bon. I mean, okay. like I don't really get the theory. Like, there's no, like, shock. There's no Sophie Walton's going to defeat Bon in the future. That's the theory. But there's, like, the evidence is that in a non-canon series, this one character holds a lighter, and then in this series, Sophie Walton holds a lighter. And in the Pumpkin Rabbit, the character that holds the lighter defeats the bad guy. So therefore, in the Walten Files, the character that holds the lighter is going to defeat the bad guy. It's like, what? No.
Now, all we have to do is wait patiently for the next couple of episodes in the Walten Files to answer all of our questions.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Just watch my videos on Walten Files. Film theorist, if you're watching this, seriously, I would love to talk Walten Files with you. Send me your scripts, whatever.